Susanna, and today we invited the founder of Bati Pocket Ashtray, Mr. Frank Tipper, to talk about his invention and how this invention could help us clean our cities and better our lives. Hi Frank, it's nice to see you.
Hi Susanna, nice to be here.
So I know that you first invented the pocket ashtray back in 1974, which is more than 40 years ago, and you have been continuously promoting it to the society. So at that time, a long time ago, people are not aware of the harmness of smoking. So why at that time did you think of inventing this pocket ashtray?
Well, Susanna, the inventing of this ashtray took a long time. There's a lot to it. I started in 1974, that's right, but I certainly didn't have an ashtray at that time. I first had to study the psychology of the smoker to come up with something that I thought would work well and to the benefit of all people. So I started researching in 1974, but it was 1984 before I actually have developed the buddy, and 1986 before I got it patented. So it's been a long process. It's a journey that I'm glad I took. It's, I believe, the one thing about smoking that is good. We finally have a way to extinguish a cigarette. We never had that before. There was never a safe way to extinguish a cigarette until the buddy. Well, we could put it in water, that worked, but that created other problems and a mess. So the buddy was the first way, since smoking began, of a honest, true, convenient way of extinguishing a cigarette. So we're quite proud of that. The psychology of the smoker is much different than most people. A lot of people like to say the smokers are careless and thoughtless, but that's not true. That's far from the truth. The smokers don't burn their homes, burn their babies, start forest fires, litter the streets. They don't do that because they want to do that. They do it because there's no other way to deal with their cigarettes. They've never been given a way to properly manage their smoking habit until the buddy. The buddy was a long process, like I said, and it was one day when I was sitting with my wife in a radiator shop. I had some problems with a radiator on my car, so my wife and I stopped to get repairs, and we were sitting among the radiators, and as you know, there's a 3/8 tube that comes out of the radiator. It's called the overflow tube. And at that time, I had quit smoking by then. This was 1974. I'd quit smoking by then, but my wife still smoked. And she was sitting back in the chair having a smoke. And so I reached over and I thought I was sneaking her cigarette. And I took it and I pushed it into a little 3/8 radiator tube. And she caught me. She said, "What are you doing with my cigarette?" I said, "Oh, nothing." She said, "Well," so she took it out and she went to smoke and she said, "It's out." I said, "It's out? It's only been there for a few seconds." She said, "I don't care, it's out." I said, "Oh, very interesting. Let's do that again." So we did it about 10 times. We kept lighting the cigarette and putting it out. And I found that it extinguished the cigarette cold in about 5 seconds. It was cold. I could do this in my hand and there was no heat. So it dawned on me at that time, this is the buddy. This is what is going to do so much. This is going to allow a smoker to extinguish his cigarette, relight it whenever he wants. Right there at that first trial, I did it about 10 times and it worked perfectly every time. So that was established, and from there I went on to, well, here's the buddy here. I went on, I designed the little bowl, and then I had to have some ways that they could carry it. So I put on a clip. This clip is broke on this one, but you can see the little clip here in the shirt. I put a little cap on the end so that the cigarettes could come off the bottom. You could, all the butts that you carry on the street, they could all just come out at the bottom, and you could carry several extinguished butts. That started in 1974, and by 1984 I had this all designed, and I thought it worked perfectly.
So after this, did you go right away into producing it and maybe going to the government to show them this new invention that could help us quit cigarette?
1986, I was granted an American United States patent, and then I thought I would market it. I took the product to the cigarette companies, but none of them were interested in promoting a device that would save a smoker from smoking twice as much as they wanted them to smoke. So they wanted to buy the thing, but I wasn't into selling because I knew that they would just shelve it and that would be the end of the buddy. I know that smoking kills 5 million people around the world. Susanna, we have to help the people around the world stop smoking. We have to help them to quit smoking. 5 million people losing their lives every year to cigarettes. It's just not right. So I tried to get the product onto the market without the tobacco companies, and I just didn't have the finances to do it. Back in 1986, there was no internet. Advertising was very, very expensive, but it probably had to, well, as a matter of fact, they used to say that if you get a new product on the market, you have to have $1 million. And I didn't have anywhere near $1 million. So I wasn't able to launch it at that time. So I just put it in my pocket, and I gave it to a few friends who started using it, and are still using it today. They just love it. They can't be without it. I think about one of the greatest safety devices ever to come onto the planet. It's an amazing, if you put a cigarette into this little thing, you cannot start a forest fire. Impossible. The cigarette is extinguished in 5 seconds. Done. Take it out, it's absolutely cold. Cannot start a fire. If you want to smoke half as much and cut down on your smoking in order to improve your health, you can have a couple of puffs, or 5 or 10, or how many you want, put it in, it goes out instantly. You can remove it and relight it. It's not damaged, it's not all crushed. It's an absolute safe way to dominate a cigarette. And this is I call it a firefighter, I call it a cigarette dominator.
Well, it's really amazing. So by using this, we can show people a different way of disposing the cigarettes, and also by extinguishing the cigarettes completely, then it will help prevent forest fire. And also, I know that you mentioned that it also helps with quitting smoking. So how does that work?
Yeah, Susanna, it's a big help to every smoker's health. Last year in Canada, we lost 35,000 people to smoking cigarettes. Most people smoke a package a day. That's a lot of cigarettes. With the buddy, and how it will help, is that it'll allow you, a smoker, to have a few puffs, enough to satisfy the urge to smoke. Smokers will be working away and all of a sudden they'll get an urge to have a cigarette. It's an addiction that kicks in. They have to have a cigarette. But they only have to have a few puffs to satisfy that urge. So what they do is they take the cigarette out of a package or out of the buddy and they light it and they have several puffs, enough to satisfy the urge, and they put it back in. It's extinguished instantly and it's safely looked after until the urge returns. Then they can take it out and relight it. This way you smoke one cigarette instead of three, which is very beneficial to the health overall. I would imagine that you're better off to smoke one cigarette than 10 cigarettes. So there may be some argument about that, but that's what I contend. So I can cut your smoking down 50 to 60% or even more. And I think that that is a great benefit to your health. The other thing is that it costs our healthcare system in Canada alone $16 billion a year to deal with chronic illness and death from smoking cigarettes. So that's where I say the buddy will help. It'll allow you to smoke a third of what you smoke now as you are on your way to quitting altogether. You cut down drastically and then you put yourself in a position that you can quit if you use the buddy. It's an aid to quitting smoking, and it's better for your health while you are smoking. We want you to quit. We want you to quit. We want a smoke-free nation, but until you do quit, we want you to use the safety device. Improve your health. Prevent your disease. They did a study in Britain, and they found that it takes the average smoker 6 to 8 very serious tries to quit smoking. And that's over a period of 8 to 10 years. So it takes a while to get past the addiction of tobacco. The buddy will help you to get past the addiction of tobacco. That's what the buddy does for your health.
Wow, so in this way, the smokers can cut down the number of cigarettes they smoke, and slowly they can quit completely. So it's actually easier than just quit in an instant. Yeah, so I know that you were a construction builder before, and actually promoting this kind of awareness is not your job to do. And so why did you sacrifice your time and your efforts in promoting this?
Well, Susanna, I thought that somebody had to do something about this terrible smoking problem. I was especially affected and driven when I lost 2 brothers and 2 sisters to smoking. My first brother that passed away was my idol. He was my hero. And I lost him to cigarettes. Small cell lung cancer. 3 years later, I lost my sister. She was 18 months younger than I am. My brother passed away at 58. My little sister passed away at 57 from smoking cigarettes. I took on quite a dislike for smoking. I am trying to get everybody in the world to quit smoking. I don't think that there's any good coming from smoking. I've dedicated my life to anti-smoking. I don't preach to people. I thought, well, I will do something. I will do something to help. I won't just talk, I will do it. And that's why I invented the buddy. And that's why I keep on pushing and popularizing the buddy.
Yes, I understand your feeling because actually my grandfather also died of lung cancer, and I think it is because of at that time people are not aware of the association of cancer and smoking, and it's great to have someone like you to promote this idea, to show them that there is a way, an easy way for them to quit smoking. And also, you have been doing this for 40 years. So through this process, did you meet any hardships or any time that you wanted to give up?
I wouldn't really say hardships, but I would say that I had to have a certain amount of dedication. I had to put a lot of money, my own money, into developing. I went to the government, and of course they wouldn't help. A lot of people don't see the benefit of the buddy, no matter how hard I talk. So I moved ahead with it on my own. I spent my own money as it came available. I had a family, 3 children to university, and food on the table and all the rest of it, and I started a small construction company, and I took the money from that, and I had a plastic injection mold made, and I just moved slowly on consistently with developing the product and getting it to where it is now. And I'm glad I did, but and there were some little difficult times, but we made it through, and here we are now. We're maybe a few $10,000 pots short, but we're here. We got it together, and we got it done, and I'm happy with that.
So it must be really hard to promote this without the help of government. So you had to use your own time and your own money. And what caused you to continue to do this? Did anyone help you along the way?
Not so much monetarily, but I got encouragement. I noticed that my friends that I'd given the buddy to several years ago were still using it. And when I talked to them, they said, "Oh, my buddy, I love it. I need it. It's as important to them as the later to start the thing. They had now had a buddy to put it out, so it just became part of their smoking paraphernalia. And yeah, they were very happy to have it. And of course, I got the encouragement from them and from my family to keep going on it. I did talk to the government quite extensively. I had meetings with the ministers and from various departments, and without any question, they loved it and they supported it. I have letters from the federal government of letters of support, but when it came down to financing it, well, that's a long process, and truthfully, I didn't have the patience to go through the government bureaucracy that's needed to get the funds. So I ended up in the position where I am now, with very little funds still to make it go, and so the help that I've got now is I contacted a young man, and he's liked the product. He loves it. He said he would finance it from here on, so maybe we can do this without the government.
This product is really great in that it can help with our health and prevent fire and also clean our cities, but people don't know about it. So how do you think we can solve this problem to let more people know and let more people use it?
Well, we're going to have this product coming off of the assembly line by, we hope, the 1st of October this year. And we're going to get it into the convenience stores and the service stations, and pretty well every place that they sell cigarettes, we think should be selling a safety device. In my talks with the government, they have suggested that it will likely be made mandatory because cigarettes are a very, very dangerous product, and everybody that smokes should carry a safety device. And they may make that law similar to the seatbelt law, similar to the flotation devices or hard hats. It's a simple little law that if you smoke cigarettes, you must have on your person a safety device. It also prevents littering, and so the law would say you must carry a safety device to extinguish your cigarettes and to prevent littering, because it will hold several butts as well as the cigarette that you're smoking. It will prevent littering, and the government have indicated to me that they will be making it mandatory. So it's just a matter of time until that comes.
So I see that there's a short one and a long one. So the long one is for more cigarettes.
Yes, and the long one will hold several, but I did this one just as a little safety thing. For some reason, you leave this, you forget to bring it from home. This can be on your keychain. It's a little keychain one that works as a safety device. It doesn't collect butts like this one. This one collects butts so that you can dispose of them at a convenient time later on.
And I see there's a cap at the end. Oh, and it's removable. So is it necessary to have a cap on? What happens if I lose it?
Well, that's one of the amazing things about this. A lot of people, when I showed it to them and how quickly it goes out, they say, "Oh, yeah, no oxygen." And I say, well, mostly I don't say anything. But it's not about the oxygen. It's this works exactly the same, whether the cap is on or the cap is not on.
Oh. How come?
Well, I went to the university and I talked to the scientists down there, and they told me that the cigarette burning, the heat on the tip of the cigarette reflects outwardly and hits the inside of the tube and is reflected instantly back into the heat, consuming, killing itself. It does kill the oxygen right around the tip of the cigarette, but this is still lots of oxygen. There's oxygen above, there's oxygen below, there's oxygen. So it's not about the oxygen. It's actually about fighting fire, you might say.
Oh.
It's the heat reflecting out and reflecting back into itself, killing itself. That's the science of the buddy. This is not a gimmick. This is a scientific, proven, workable safety device. And I claim probably one of the greatest safety devices ever to come into existence.
This product is going to the stores this year. So how many products do you expect that will sell?
Well, you know, Susanna, I'm pretty near 90 years old. I don't have to sell very much. I don't need money. Money is not what I am after right now. I just want everybody in Canada to start to have a buddy. I want them to start to quit smoking. It's not about my money, it's about stopping smoking. It's about protecting our environment. It's about good health for the millions of people around the world. That's more important than a few dollars for me. I don't need dollars at this time of my life.
Thank you, Frank, for sharing your thoughts with us today, and thank you for your continuous contribution in promoting this awareness that will help to protect our environment, our cities, and our health.
Thank you.
And thanks everyone for watching, and I hope all the audiences could give the pocket ashtray a try, not only for yourself, but also for your family, your friends, and your loved ones. Thank you. Bye-bye.